Yesterday, I saw a great game from the European Championship. Velimir Ivic crushed Matthias Bluebaum in excellent style. And I think it might actually be the end of one line for black in the French because I don't see a defense. And we're going to go through the game, and you might be able to surprise some of your opponents with this idea for white. And for if you like the French as black, take care. This is dangerous stuff. And but of course, already know that you're going for the ice to the poisoned pawn. That's always a bit scary. So let's get into it. And by the way, this Ivic guy, he really, really impressed me in this game. It's really an amazing game with a lot of very, very nice small tactics, domination, sacrifices, and so on. So don't miss this. This is a great game. I promise you, it's worth your time. Okay, let's get into it. We have the French on the board: e4, e6, d4, d5, knight c3, which must be the critical variation. I never played it with white. I played all sorts of things against the French, but this, I always thought it was too theoretical, and also these positions in the Wiener are just too weird to understand. Anyway, this is one of the main line of the French, and I think Bloombaum is one of the big experts on the black side of the French and this variation as well. He's known as an excellent theoretician. A lot of Germans are, by the way. Don't take it offense, Germany, and and is well prepared. But I think Ivic was maybe even better prepared. Queen b6. This is a very aggressive way. Black is hitting. Um, oops, I should stop doing that. Is hitting this pawn, and well, you have to defend it somehow. And maybe bishop c5 is also threatening. So it's but the normal move is queen d2, just covering the queen, getting ready to castle queen side. And having said A, you always have to say B, and black takes the pawn. This pawn is known as the poisoned pawn. In Danish, it's called the will pawn or testament pawn or something, because someone acknowledged said that if you ever take this pawn, I will leave nothing to inherit. Queen a3, bishop b5. And white, of course, have put a lot of pressure on black's position. Black's structure is solid, and black's pawn here does mean that his structure is a little bit vulnerable. So exchanges is usually good, and you could get your king out, but that doesn't look very healthy. So and pushing the queen back, and there's no good square for it. It will be trapped on a5, so it has to go all the way back. And of course, this does not look very inspiring for black, but he does have a good structure, he does have good bishops, and at the moment it's not easy to see how white should continue the attack. I think there are a lot of refinements here. Check and d3 and queen d8, bishop b, and here basically they could make a draw here after this and this. But Ivic is ambitious player, and he does not want to draw, so he covers the bishop. But there's no real good sort of kickoff for this one, right? It doesn't threaten anything. Black is solid. Bishop b4, almost ready to castle. Almost. Will he make it? That's the big question. A3. Annoying it. We also see that the black squares would be a serious problem for black if he were to take on c3. So he cannot really part with this guy. It has to stay on the board. White's plan, of course, includes something with f5, opening a second front, maybe somehow getting this knight into the game. Bishop a3, f5. Great move. And here the computer first thinks that black is good if he plays bishop b4. But if you give it a little bit more time, it finds something for white here. It finds that rook c4 is attacking, of course, the bishop. As I said before, you don't want on opposite colored bishops. You're gonna get murdered on the black squares. This is it's very standard. You can't really survive. Nothing will happen on the white squares. Everything will happen on the black squares, and it will all be bad for you. So you have to keep the queen, the bishop, and here simply castling, getting ready for f6. And if you castle, you go f6. If he takes here, you still go f6, and well, it's all over. A nice line is like this. And here h5 is the best move. Then I think h5 c3 or something is the main move. But if let's say that you do something like stupid like this, then you would be mated like this. Anyway, after this, the computer says white has a winning attack, and I think you should check it yourself if you're going to play this with white. In general, it's a good rule to check for yourself. Check for yourself. Also, it's very difficult to remember a variation you haven't actually seen on the board. So check for yourself. Trust but verify, as they say in Russia. But he played rook c8, and that's not good either. Rook a7, queen e7, castle, and it all looks like it's almost okay for black. And I think probably Matthias thought, I'm probably okay here. Of course, you can see that if he castle, f6 is coming with a vengeance, and if he takes, knight takes d5 does not look good. So, but bishop c5, that must have been the plan, and it's still looking good, because what would you like to do when you're under attack? Exchange queens. Exchange queens. That's what we would like, and take and take. And here we see that, okay, check, bishop c8. This does not look good for white, right? The knight is under attack. You're a pawn down. What's going on? But there is also a potential check here. There's a rook here. There is something in the f file. This bishop is not very mobile. Let's see. How can we exploit that with white? Here comes a really great move, knight a4. We see now that if you take, then comes knight b6. That is a problem, right? That is a problem. Not b6. Bishop takes, then knight b6 is threatening. The rook is threatening. There's a check here, but if he took here, I think check here would not be the best, because black would have decent compensation for the exchange. He would take with the bishop on c2, covering h7 and so on, and it will not be so easy. The pawns will be very dangerous, and this is kind of things I used to do, but here just this move is just totally crushing. Managed to opening the position before anything is going on, and after something like this, this is mating, I think. So at some point, anyway. So you can't take it, and you can't take on c2 because of knight b6, and the bishop is trapped because there is a check here. And if the bishop moves to c6, covering a8, f7 is no longer protected, and you take on e6, and the other rook is coming. So rook c8 is forcing the rook to a position here. Still, it doesn't look disastrous yet, right? Black is probably hoping rook f8, f6, something, and I will get out. f6, keeping you in on the black squares. And of course, if you play g6, then something like c4 and rook d1 is a serious trouble, or just rook somewhere. It's anyway, you're not gonna get out, because you can never move you can't there move the bishop, and if you move the bishop, then there comes a check, and the king cannot, so you cannot connect the rooks. So he took, and rook takes, and rook g8 with a very clever plan, a very logical plan. He's planning to do this. And here, I'm not sure Velimir had seen this beforehand, but he is a very talented young player, and he might have. Anyway, black is, of course, not very active, and white would love to expand on his actions. So c4. You can't take it, because then the knight comes to d6. So that's obvious. But rook d5. Let's keep on the plan. And here comes the real shocker, c5. He was not threatening to take, he was threatening to pass by. And after this, c6, the mission accomplished. He has to take. And then the whole band is scattered on the 7th rank, ready for some 7th rank bowling. And the king here is the problem. At the moment, there is threatening mate in one move with rook b8. So here, threatening mate in one move with rook h8. And attacking the bishop, and preventing rook takes b6 due to rook c8 mate. And use the whole board, knight c8. There is a very, very nice little thing here called check. King d8, check, and rook cg7, and, well, black resigned. The thing is, what to do now? They're threatening this move, and after something like this, then this move is a problem, because this is mate, and the other one is also mate. So this was an absolutely outstanding and brilliant game by Ivic. It poses some serious theoretical problems for black. The expert Matthias Bluebaum was simply swept off the board in magnificent fashion, and it's one of my favorite games from this year. I thought really white played fantastic chess here, and I would, to be honest, I don't think I could play a game like this. This is simply too difficult. It's a really, really good chess. I hope you enjoyed this video from GM Talks, and again, I apologize for my rusty voice. I have had a cold. It's not Corona. And thank you for not asking. I'm tired of that question. Thank you for watching. This was GM Talks, your host.